Good day to everyone. Before we begin, I would like to check your attendance first to see if everyone are present today. So upon checking, it seems that your section have a complete attendance today. Very good to everyone. So let's now begin with our discussion. Our topic for today's discussion is all about punctuations. It seems that everyone is familiar with it already. So before we begin, I would like to ask a question first. So why do we need punctuations? Does anyone wants to volunteer to answer? Yes, Mr. Gomez. Very good. So punctuation allows us to read the text and understand it easily. So punctuations are there to use so that the author can write easily and for the readers to understand it clearly. So in the next slide, we can see that there are 8 types of punctuations. Does anyone wants to recite what are those 8 punctuations? Yes, Mr. Santos. Very good. So there are period, comma, colon, question mark, quotation mark, exclamation point, parentheses, and apostrophe. So there are rules when it comes to using a different punctuations. First is period. The rule that we must obey in using a period is that a period can be used at the end of the complete sentence. Example of it is, he asked where the milk was. As you can see, the period is at the end of the sentence. So second is comma. There are 4 applicable rules in this punctuation. First is, comma can be used to separate words or items in the list. Example of it is, she has 2 dogs, 3 cats, 1 bird, and 5 fish in her house. So the second rule is that comma can be used to separate a city from its state. Example of it is, I am from East Lansing, Michigan. So the third rule is that comma can be used to separate the day of the month from the year. Example of it is, he was born on August 4th, 1990. So the fourth rule is that comma can be used to separate adjectives when the word can be inserted between them. So when we talk about adjectives, it is a describing words. So example of it is, she was a young, beautiful dog. So the third punctuation is question mark. The rule for this punctuation is that it can only be used after a direct question. Example of it is, will you come over after school? So moving on, the fourth punctuation is exclamation point. The rule for this is that it can be used to show emphasis or excitement. Example of it is, summer is in 3 months. So the fifth punctuation is quotation marks. There are 2 rules for this punctuation. The first one is it can be used to set off a direct quotation. Example of it is, what is your favorite color? She asked. And the second rule is that the period and commas always go inside of the quotation marks. Example of it is, I don't want to go to school today, Alan said. As you can see in the presentation, the comma are inside of the quotation mark. So the sixth punctuation is colon. There are 2 rules in using it. The first is, colon can be used after a complete sentence to introduce a list of items. Example of it is, on my trip, I will bring clothes, a pillow, a sleeping bag, a toothbrush, and my teddy bear. The second rule is that colon can be used after the greeting of the person's name in the business letter. Example of it is, Dear Mr. Smith. The seventh punctuation is parentheses. The rule of it is it can be used to enclose words or figures that clarify or are used as an aside. Example of it is, he received 150 open parentheses 150 as in the number, close parentheses, points for his math project. Moving on, for the last punctuation is apostrophe. There are two rules in using this punctuation. The first is she is only allowed candy on Friday. The second rule is that apostrophe can be used to show possession. Place the apostrophe before S. Example of it is, they found Miss Connor's gloves. So that's the end of our discussion. To see if everyone really understands what we discussed, we are going to have a practice. I would like everyone to participate in this practice so that I'll be able to see if you can determine what is the missing punctuation that you are going to use in each sentence. So let's proceed with number 1. The teacher asked him to sit next to her blank. What do you think is the proper punctuation to use in this sentence? Yes, Miss De Guzman. Miss De Guzman answered period as the proper punctuation. Let's see if she's correct. Very good! Period is the right punctuation to use. Next, they don't blank have school on Saturday. What do you think is the proper punctuation to use in this sentence? Yes, Mr. Cruz. Mr. Cruz answered apostrophe as the proper punctuation. Let's see if he's correct. Very good. Apostrophe is the right punctuation to use. Next, she was born on April 30th, blank 1990. What do you think is the proper punctuation to use in this sentence? Yes, Miss Gonzalez. Miss Gonzalez answered comma as the proper punctuation. Let's see if she's correct. Very good. Comma is the right punctuation. Next, dear Mrs. White, blank. What do you think is the proper punctuation to use? Yes, Mr. Santos. So, Mr. Santos answered colon as the proper punctuation. Let's see if he's correct. Very good. Colon is the right punctuation to use. And for the last practice, blank, I don't feel well today, blank, Adam said. What do you think is the proper punctuation? Yes, Mr. Reyes. Mr. Reyes answered quotation mark. Let's see if Mr. Reyes got the right answer. Yes, very good. Quotation mark is the right punctuation to use. So it seems like everyone understands our lesson, and I'm really happy to see that everyone is participating. Let's see each other in the next discussion. Goodbye, class.